When it comes to match types inside Google Ads, there isn't any one match type that you should always use regardless of where you're at with your current campaign. And in today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to know which of the match types that you should be using three real campaigns that we're managing as examples, so that you also know what to use when you're in each of the same scenarios. And these exact scenarios will apply to any service-based business looking to generate leads. And firstly, an example of a campaign that's only been set up recently or been running for about 1 month or so. Those newer campaigns, I always recommend using exact match keywords as much as possible at the very beginning to gather as much relevant conversion data as possible. You know that from the very beginning that the quality of your search traffic is going to be as high as possible because the search terms are going to be more related to the keywords themselves, unlike phrase and broad match keywords, which will lead to search terms that are a lot broader and not always relevant to the keywords of that ad group. And so what I recommend with new campaigns or even campaigns that have been running a couple months is that you use exact match keywords and only consider expanding to either phrase or broad if you've maxed out the amount of impressions that you can get with your exact match keywords. And what I'd recommend doing as well when you're deciding which keywords to actually target for your campaign in the first place to use as exact match, what I'd always recommend is targeting keywords that have at least 30 or more average monthly searches in the location that you're targeting. The reason being is that if you're targeting a ton of keywords that have, for example, 10 monthly searches according to the keyword planner, you're just going to have a campaign with a lot more keywords than necessary, which are going to be a lot harder to handle and will just lead to a lot of keywords with low quality scores and just a messy campaign structure overall. So when it comes to the actual keywords you want to target and set as exact match at the very beginning, it really is quality over quantity, and to just make sure that the keywords you are targeting actually have search volume to begin with. And as I briefly mentioned at the beginning as well, the reason why I'd recommend exact match keywords early on is because when you actually go to insights and reports and look at your search terms here, you'll see that not just the keywords but the actual searches that your ads appear for are highly relevant to the ads and landing pages of that ad group. As long as you have ad copy in each ad group and a landing page that's highly relevant to the keyword itself, if you use exact match keywords, you know that at least for the very most part that the search terms are going to be highly relevant to the keyword itself. And this is what leads to higher conversion rates. And this search term here, for example, it has 12 clicks without a conversion, so this is one that would be closely monitored. But even this search term here for the same ad group had 2 conversions from 10 clicks. And by making sure you have highly relevant search terms, it's just about increasing the probability that you're going to have a higher conversion rate versus irrelevant search terms that are a lot less likely to actually convert into a lead. And so that's why I'm such a big fan of exact match, and so much so that there's some campaigns we're running that have always been able to generate plenty of traffic with exact match keywords, and they've always performed so well that we've never actually expanded to phrase or broad match, even on campaigns that have been running a while, simply because we've been able to continuously improve the results over time without using any other match types. Now, we also have phrase match keywords, and this is one campaign that actually exclusively uses phrase match. And this isn't something I'd recommend now, but when we first set up this campaign nearly 2 years ago, phrase match keywords at the time were a lot less lenient with the amount of search terms that you could actually appear for, as all of the match types seem to be getting broader as time goes on. But what I do really like to use phrase match keywords for is in campaigns that have always been using exact match and are struggling for traffic. Implementing phrase match keywords is a really good way to get the overall volume of impressions up without sacrificing quality too much, in the sense that your search terms report isn't going to be completely overloaded with irrelevant search terms. So with phrase match keywords, you will appear for searches that exact match wouldn't have had you shown for, so you will need to spend more time inside the search terms report adding negatives to your campaign, but it's not going to go as out of control as it would if you were using broad match keywords. And in my opinion, the most useful way to actually use phrase match keywords are in campaigns that have previously been using exact match but have been struggling for traffic, is you could add a phrase match variant to each ad group, so one phrase match keyword in each ad group, and do so for your longest tail or most high buying intent keywords. For example, roof cleaning near me or roof repair near me, because when you have a modifier like near me at the end of the keyword, it generally helps improve the quality of search terms that the phrase match keyword would actually trigger. So lastly then we have broad match keywords as well. So even though you do have a lot of relevant search terms underneath these that you appear for inside your search terms report, and you do need to have a lot more negative keywords added, I found broad match keywords to work really well in a lot of cases and generate a lot of leads in campaigns that have had a lot of conversion data previous to adding the broad match keyword in. And so a mistake I see quite often is broad match keywords being used too early inside a campaign lifecycle without enough conversion data built up first. And it really is the more conversion data the better before you add broad match keywords in. And if you're considering adding a broad match keyword in simply for the fact that you're actually struggling for traffic and spending your budget, what I'd recommend doing before adding broad match keywords is go with phrase first, because at least the quality of search terms you appear for is somewhat under control with phrase match keywords. But once you're at a point where you're getting consistent conversions within your target CPA and using smart bidding, which is another requirement you need to make sure you have in place before even going near broad match keywords, is that you're actually using smart bidding, which in most cases is using a target CPA when you're looking to generate leads. Then that is when I've actually found it to be effective to add a broad match variant of one of your best performing exact or phrase match keywords. So I hope this video helped and gave you context on when to actually use each of the three match types inside your Google Ads campaigns, depending on the stage that you're currently at with your own. But if you do have any questions about any of the match types or anything else related to Google Ads as a whole, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you are a service-based business looking to have all your campaigns set up and managed for you, feel free to have a look at the link in the description. And if you do like this Google Ads related content as well, feel free to have a look at the other videos that should appear on the screen now that contains each of the individual steps in setting up and managing a new Google Ads campaign from start to finish.